What?
Are you speaking German?
Yeah, no, Heidi, that was the ongoing joke because I would always be like, Entschuldigen Sie, hallo, sprechen Sie English? And they're like,
Pardon
yeah.
me. Do you speak English? Yeah, that's hilarious.
And I'd be like, oh, wonderful.
Wunderbar.
I
Hello and welcome back to the Tiki Rebellion. You know, we took a little bit of time off because we had a billion things going on, and we're back to tell you about all of them. Of course, I am Nick, and I am joined as always by the incomparable Mr. Adam Rains. Adam, how are you, brother?
aloha or Entschuldigen Sie. My
I'm
German is
sorry.
Scheisse. I don't know.
Yeah, Entschuldigung would be I'm sorry. So that's a
Hello.
great way. I think we should start all of these. Entschuldigung, Entschuldigung.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Wiederhin bist Schesko. Uh,
That is one of our sayings, one of our taglines is I'm really sorry.
we're
I'm
really
truly
sorry.
sorry.
Truly sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, since we last recorded, a lot of neat stuff's been going on. One of our biggest year or weeks of the year.
Viva
Oh,
Las
Viva Las
Vegas.
Vegas, the giant rockabilly car convention with bands and all sorts of excitement. Yet again, another banner year for us at Viva. Personal highlight, we never used to do at the shop, we never used to do Shrunken Heads during Viva because we were too busy. But I love defying convention. So last
Yes, you
year,
do.
to
I was
kick
like,
off
no,
Viva,
let's not do it. We can't do that. We can't do that, Nick.
and I said, "You're damn right we can, and we will." So yeah, we last year did Spike Marble Shrunken Head, and that opened the door to us meeting McBiff and then getting our Aloha shirt made, and all of the debauchery that McBiff and I have gotten into since then. And this year, I was thinking, man, what's a name? What's someone that deserves it? What's someone that we really want to celebrate? And it was an easy choice. Tom Laura, the artist Big Toe. We had him in as well as some of his friends. We got his head shrunken. And one of my favorite things from that, I've always wanted Big Toe's book. And I finally got it
Ooh,
from him. And he was nice enough to do a personalized drawing of me there in the
what?
clamshell. Even got my ratty mustache. So I really
In Shelly.
appreciate Tom.
Wow.
That was a super fun event. Really, overall, Viva was a great week for us. I've heard kind of mixed things about, we don't, you got to stop there for a couple of minutes, right? You swung in for just a little bit.
Yeah, I showed up at the car show. It was kind of in between events, and I think the Hula Girls were playing on the mates on inside of the actual casino, which was kind of a different ticketing status. So I think that's why it was when I went, it was kind of a little bit mellow,
Everyone
but
was there seeing
definitely wasn't.
Spike. I get that.
Yeah, exactly. But it definitely wasn't mellow inside of Golden Tiki's. Luckily,
It certainly was not. Yeah, I've actually never gotten to go to Viva Las Vegas because after COVID, I've been working at the Golden Tiki and it is our busiest week of the year. So I'm always there. But yeah, that was a
it's
super
like
fun
our
event.
Super Bowl. It's our New Year's Eve. It's better than our New Year's Eve. It's like 4 days, 5 days of New Year's Eve level business in a row. It's a blast.
And we don't have to worry about assholes setting off fireworks and frightening our dogs. So I would say it's much better than New Year's Eve. And then following right off the heels of that, we had a great event with the band Motorhead official and Wendy Dio, the widow of Ronnie James Dio. We did a partnership with Motorhead with their new whiskey brand and helped to launch their 3 or 4 new whiskeys. You created some amazing cocktails for it. We already had Mickey
Ooh,
D's
that
Shrunken Head,
spam.
but
I
yeah,
really like that
the
spam
spam
infused
infused, yeah.
Mai Tai with Tomorrow on fire. with like a little spam campfire on top of the cocktail. It was pretty great. It grossed a lot of people out, but it made me happy.
If it's not grossing people out, is it even worth doing? Yeah, we'd had some great drinks. We had Mickey D in, he accepted on behalf of the band. And then yeah, Wendy Dio was there, and we got to do Ronnie James Dio's Shrunken Head. A lot of really great people showed up. It was a super fun event. And you know, it occurs to me, we have given a pledge to be a little more educational. So it seems like as good a time of any to throw to Adam showing how to make another one of his amazing, unique cocktails. So Adam, let's watch you make a drink.
Ooh, love this part.
The Caribbean Shark Reviver. Let's go. First, we start with fresh lime juice. Next, we have a peach, tamarind, ginger, salted syrup. Followed by a southern style amaro. This is the Vecchio Amaro del Campo. This is their reserva, which adds spice, notes, and everything nice notes. Next, we have the Deadhead 6-year rum. It's from Chiapas, Mexico. Delicious base for this cocktail, and they're integral partners with us in our charity mug and cocktail for the month in Saving Our Sharks Foundation. Now let's prepare the mug. This mug was created by Tiki Dillon, an Australian artist, partnered with Deadhead and Tiki Farm. Alright, let's get a little ice in there. Don't worry about that. We're going to do the whip shake. The whip shake, of course, is more about incorporation of flavors and aeration of the cocktail as opposed to dilution. So shake it up good, shake it awake, don't rock it asleep. Yeah, hand on the hip. The cocktail is almost ready. Not yet. Get that ice out of there. Let's start with fresh. But first, we'll pour this unctuous concoction into the mug. Yes. And we're going to fill as much pebble ice as we can into that mug. We want to create an insulated barrier on top of that cocktail to add to its durability and enjoyability. And don't forget to spank that mint with all those aromatics. It's beautiful and serves a very important purpose on the cocktail. Fresh lime wheel in there, which of course you can squeeze like a little more acidity in your cocktail. We have a blue lotus root from Just the Drink, which are great partners of Deadhead, Saving Our Sharks Foundation, and the Golden Sea. This cocktail's almost complete. Absinthe Rains will top it off. The Caribbean Shark Reviver. The mug and cocktail are both available through July while supplies last. Proceeds go to benefit Saving Our Sharks Foundation, which works with fishermen to provide a path forward that's both economically and ecologically sustainable. Saving Our Sharks can be a real good time. Golden Tea, Deadhead Rum, Saving Our Sharks Foundation. Help us help the world one drink at a time.
Yeah, what an incredible looking drink, man. That looks fantastic. I think we are all better people from having viewed that.
Drinks really connect people. It brings the world together, and hopefully this one does in a small way.
It's all we can
the
hope to
vodka Red
aspire
Bull
to.
does. Exactly.
So yeah, normally we would throw to a bit more standard format, but Adam, boy, you sure have been doing a lot of stuff. So let's dedicate all the remainder of our time to Adam Does Stuff.
Adam does stuff. Adam does stuff. Adam da dumb stuff.
Germany edition.
Yeah, I had a chance to go to Germany. I was in Europe for about 8, 9, 10 days, whatever it was. And I toured a little bit of the country as part of a family trip, which was amazing to bond with family and to tour some different cities of Germany. But of course, I'm not just there. I wasn't just there to bond with family and drink all the beautiful beer styles that I could in the different cities. And as we know, there are a lot of regional stylistic differences in the beers there, along with the cuisine. And I got to see parts of Germany that I'd never seen before. And I was actually there during the Frühling Fest, which is
The Frühling
have
Fest.
you the Frühling Fest? Have you heard of that one?
I'm not familiar with that.
So that is what they do in the spring. That would be kind of like the bookend, a little bit smaller, but still a blast to comparison comparatively to the Oktoberfest. So we rolled
Fascinating.
in there. It was in Munich. Um, it was in Munich, and it was a huge carnival inside one of their next to their main park, and just tents and tents and tents. And I kind of didn't know it was happening. We were having dinner at the Holliner Brew House, which was amazing food, some of the best food we had when we were in Germany. But a friend of a friend said, "Hey, Frühling Fest is happening. Go see my buddy," and he got us in, and we go into this beer tents, and it is as iconic as Oktoberfest, as raucous, as wild. People were partying, Nick, but like it was one of those moments you're like, I can't believe I'm here.
That's fascinating.
Like just obviously steins of beer, but it was mainly really like a young demographic, but like everyone singing in German, then going into an American song, then just it was like the best spring break I've ever been to, and not in an annoying way. People were wearing Nick's favorite. They were wearing a German version of shorts.
Got to have that
What was
lederhosen.
it called? Yeah, the lederhosen, buddy. Like
Bavarian spring break.
it was like Bavaria, spring break in Bavaria, essentially. But yeah,
Spring break
that
in
was amazing.
Bavaria.
And Bavaria is cool. Like Bavaria is very specific. They are almost consider themselves like the Uber Germans. They say,
Okay.
yeah, Bavarian dialect and German dialect, they say they have co-evolved at the same time. They basically say that they don't speak German. They kind of say Germans speak Bavarian. They're
Oh,
like that
wow.
proud about it. Yeah. And in Munich, which is capital of Bavaria, I believe, like the cuisine was definitely markedly different than Berlin. Like in Munich, I didn't even see a bratwurst on the
Really?
menu until you got to like a very specific like tourist area. And there were loads of Bavarian restaurants all over the place. Like it's very entrenched as opposed to you go to Berlin, it's like very hard to find a German restaurant, like at least areas that I was at. Like it was very international. Bavaria is very Bavaria centric, but and then the Helles lagers were amazing. And of course, like I said, I'm not just there to drink beer. I wasn't there to drink beer and hang out with family. Of course, I'm gonna sniff out that tiki whenever I can,
Little
you know.
Bavarian tiki. You tracked it down.
But yes, and you might have known. Did you know there is a Trader Vic's there?
There is a Trader Vic's. Yeah, one of the
Yes,
what, like 16 or whatever still standing. That's did you get a chance to go?
I did. I did. It was the last night there, and we were almost dead at that point because we had been traveling through multiple German cities. We went to Austria, we went to Garmisch, we went to like the Swiss Alps, like, and obviously it's vacation, so you are drinking at 10 in the morning,
Of
like
course.
duh, and I'm in Europe. I'm being European, do as the Romans do or the Germans do. But it was at the end of the trip, but I still had to make that pilgrimage. It was beautiful. It's in an older part of the city and in
Is it
a
in the Hilton
hotel.
Hotel?
It is. It's a different hotel.
Interesting.
It's not a Hilton anymore. It's been sold. And I should know, but I was looking at my GPS and like it's really hard to find because it says Trader Vic's and then you're outside and there's no real signs except you walk in through the main lobby and you see you see a tiki carving, like kind of distant, and then stairs leading down. So
Oh,
it's kind of
cool.
in the basement of this hotel. But Nick, brother, it was beautiful. Like it was intact, fully fleshed out. Like it was everything a Trader Vic's should be, in my opinion. I've only been to a couple before, and I've been to some of the more modern versions of them, and this one had more of a not so elegant version of Trader Vic's that I've seen, or more modern version of Trader Vic's. It had bones, it had history, and the bartender knew his stuff. He made good drinks, and then the food was like phenomenal, brother. Like it was like Pan Asian, all different types of Asian food. But after having German and Bavarian food for 7 days, it was
Refreshing change.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
yes, it was
fascinating to
great.
hear because the only Trader Vic's that I've ever been to was the one that was in LA Live. And when I worked in Los Angeles, it was just 2 doors down from the place I worked at. And this is really before, like, I was aware of what tiki was, but I wasn't seeking it out. I knew it was a thing. I was sort of aware very tacitly of the history, but there was never really any veneration on my part, like, oh my God, I'm going into Trader Vic's. This is amazing. I really liked it because the drinks were fantastic. I loved the decor. And one of their main bartenders used to be like an A&R guy for Sony or something like that. And we knew some similar bands. We had some similar friends and really would just kind of,
Because you used to tour with bands, right? I don't know
yeah,
if
I've
you've
done some different music work
oh,
over the years. Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, it was honestly, I liked sitting at the bar because we'd get in weird debates like why at the time Nickelback was a more important band than the Beatles and really rile up the guests around us and everything like that. But yeah, that was one of my favorite places to go when I lived in Los Angeles because it was right by my work. I'd already traveled there. But it was interesting to me that you said you really liked the food because I would say that was the one kind of lower mark for that place is I generally I don't know, I found a lot of the food there to be kind of mid. But I mean it's hard to say with locations and chefs and what was going on at that period of time. Just didn't blow my skirt up near as much as the drinks, but it's actually that bar that began my love of the Navy grog. So
Oh yeah.
definitely a big stop on my own tiki history. But
Their Navy grog, I don't know if how much they stick to the recipes bar to bar, but like the Navy grog at the Munich Trader Vic's was really spiced. It it for me it tasted almost similar to our Lemleba Akulapu, like
interesting.
closer to that than our Navy grog. But it was really good. It was really good.
And that wasn't the only tiki bar you hit on your trip, right? Before you even left the States, you took a little side detour.
Oh yeah. I didn't even have a real chance to look at my itinerary because we were coming off the week of Viva and planning for some takeovers when I was gone as well, which we should talk about that as well
Of
because
course.
we were actually in town and a million other things that we were doing. So I didn't even look at my itinerary and like where my layovers were, but I ended up having a 5 hour layover in Denver. And I was like, the time all the stars aligned. I'm like, this is worth it. Like, there's a bar that I've been wanting to go to. I know, the owners of Electric Cure and Hell or High Water Tiki. They come in and visit us all the time. So I'm
They
like,
do.
I need to go if I can.
And
If
so
I
you
can, I
navigated DIA, hopped in an Uber, and made your way all the way out to Hell or High Water Tiki. Now there's
I did.
commitment.
I had to do it. I had that little window of opportunity. When am I going to be in Denver again? And I actually did the train. I wanted to save money
Oh
on the
wow.
Uber. So yeah, and it took a little bit more time. But and a side note, I actually in the airport in Denver, I stepped on a fish hook
In the airport.
in the airport. I'm like getting ready to go on the train, and I'm like, how did this happen? I like was walking to get on the train. I had all my luggage. I couldn't really tell, and then I get in, and I'm like, what the what? And I had a fish hook like in my crop, and I'm like,
And you're wearing
So lucky.
Crocs in an airport. This is super high society.
They're Kiwi Crocs, but just to be clear, but yeah, I'm lucky, I didn't really like
Escaped
again
without
pierce my
tetanus. Yeah, that's good.
yeah, exactly. Start a whole walking trip in Europe
Yeah,
with
with a
fish
fish
hook
hook
woman.
embedded in your foot.
But I think that is the beginning of a song. There has to be a fish hook in
I was going to
Denver,
say that might
you
have
know?
been an actual old Trader Vic story. Uh, and I spent 2 weeks walking Europe with a fish hook buried in my foot. Um,
So that's how he lost his leg. But yeah, but
so
anyway,
how
I made
was
it
Hell or
home.
High Water?
Man, it was awesome, and it's Nick. I know you already know this, but they are a bar that actually probably maybe has more dicks than Golden Tiki. I don't know in quantity, but in percentage of space, I think they do.
From what I've
And
heard, they've really upped the dick game. And yeah, I mean that it alone makes it a must-hit destination.
yes, yes, their dicks all over. They have that dick, dick snail, tiki mug that's on their pin as well. I don't have it with me right now, but I got a pin with the dick snail on it, and the dick snail trail is coming next. But uh, and I didn't know this, Nick, uh, that they have a replica of our Big Red, of our own Billy Crud's Big Red.
Yeah,
Did you know that?
so Electric Cure opened before Hell or High Water. And I think it was around the time that Electric Cure was opening and they were just starting on Hell or High Water. And they came to visit us and saw, all our dicks and Big Red. And yeah, they commissioned Billy Crud. And I hate to admit this, but their Big Red is actually bigger than ours. So,
What?
yep, yeah.
Oh,
I mean, they're
I
coming hard in the Tiki Dick game, and it's I mean, I have to tip my hat to them.
yes. Yeah, but it was great. I'm bummed I didn't notice it because there were a lot of dicks. I didn't notice Big Red when I was there, but the drinks were delicious. It's amazing, like kind of new school crafty cocktail, like leaning as opposed to like traditional tiki. They were kind of more on that, and I'm not saying it pejoratively, but kind of more hipster cocktail driven tiki, which is
Yeah, I think
super
from what
cool.
I've
It's
gathered, they're
really
more of
good.
that kind of new guard of Tiki where you have a couple of traditions, but a lot of them are originals.
Yeah, yeah, and I really liked it. Every drink I had was delicious, and then um they they brought the hospitality as well, especially when they found out where I worked. But even before that, they kept the fun in it. And I mean, like you knew you were in a cool bar, but they didn't really make you feel like you were a dirt bag for being in their cool bar. Like I mean, they probably should have, but
Right,
it's
right.
still,
Swing and a miss
but
with that one on their part.
yeah, but yeah, and it's in Denver downtown, and Denver has a really cool downtown. It's right, it's a cute downtown, and I want to spend some more time there. So we were talking about possibly doing a little bar trade too. So we'll uh we'll ask our HR rep today, see if we
We'll
can
see if we
do
can
a
get
little.
approval to do what we like doing. Yeah, I really feel bad because I've spent so much of my life in Denver. That's where my family is. But since both Electric Cure and Hell or High Water have opened, I haven't been back. We haven't been there since before the pandemic. So yeah, it would be super jealous. You got to get a chance. I mean, super jealous of your entire trip, but especially tacking on that little turn of the knife at the beginning. That yeah, you're gonna zip over and check it out. That's fantastic. Yeah, I talk to so many people. We get a lot of people into the shop that are from Denver. And it's always so interesting to me because it really seems 50-50, the ones that have heard of Electric Cure and Hell or High Water, and the ones that aren't even aware of it. Yeah, with Hell or High Water being downtown and then Electric Cure over in the Sloan's Lake area. It seems like a lot more people are familiar with Adrift, but they've been around quite a bit longer. I think they've been there probably 6 years, something like that now.
Mhm.
And they're much more of a traditional, kind of elevated tiki bar. They do a great job. But you mentioned takeovers, and even though you're on vacation, didn't you do a bit of a takeover yourself?
Oh, I did. Yeah, that was really fun. It's always fun to be behind a different bar, but you're like, especially if you're in another country. And yeah, to be bartending in Germany, I don't speak German. Luckily, most people there are far more educated than us and more worldly. So pretty much everyone spoke English. But yeah, it was one of the coolest cocktail bars in Munich. Um, and it was called Negroni Bar, and we did a takeover there. It was just me, and I got to see how they did things. They could see how I did things. We lit some stuff on fire. We delighted their patrons. We gave them menu, a little small menu of 3 tiki cocktails. The sponsor was an Amaro brand, believe it or not. And being in a Negroni bar, we did one version of the Ninth Island Negroni with the Dole Whip foam tahine. So we brought a little bit of a golden tiki, a little of that Dole saucer, making it into a foam. On top of that, we did a version of an Amaro Mai Tai. And then we did a kind of tiki old fashioned with aged rum and brandy aged Calabrian Amaro and absinthe and a little fiery orange with that. It was delicious, and it was just fun to see how other bars do it and like how other countries, how the patrons interact with everyone. It's kind of almost the same. Just it's those little things on uh on how they do things and how you can learn from them, they can learn from you, and then just that camaraderie. It was great. Like I have like 3 new best friends,
That's
so
awesome.
we're working the bar. So it was cool. And I got to work for a bar tab. So for all my family. So all me and my wife's family, they were all at the bar as well. So we got to have a little party. I got to work to get them a bar tab, and hey, it was
Can't put a
great.
price on that. That's
Yeah.
probably ended up being worth more than had they actually paid you.
Absolutely. 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 Yeah, it was super fun. And there was one moment during the takeover when I'm telling everybody about, yeah, okay, here's our juice bottle. This is the natural product. So I know everyone here at the Negroni bar, they just squeeze this. So your natural products can't settle. So you got to make sure you do the shake. And I was like, really getting the hip into the shake. Really, like
Really, really
that.
selling the sizzle.
I was that it was sizzling, and then I to the bar manager, I was like, yeah, man, he taught me how to do that, and he's like, no, no, and then he like sheepishly looked over and he's like, here, I want to introduce you to my wife. I'm like, oh, perfect timing. Sorry, and she was like, super well-to-do Italian lady. So, but
It's bumming out people, not just nationwide, worldwide.
yes,
That's
yeah, but no,
awesome.
it was really fun. I got to spread a little bit of that golden tiki love and that tiki vibe, and you know, that try to be international and create that friendship, bonds, brotherhood, love, understanding, rum.
Ohana. So, Adam, you mentioned that you did this takeover at a tiki bar in Munich, in Germany and Bavaria. But I didn't even realize, when you think of Germany, you think of beer, as you mentioned, you think of schnapps, you think of the Huntmaster, Jägermeister.
Ooh,
But
I
you don't
did one.
really think of rum. Is rum a big deal over in Germany?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is, and it has a history. It definitely has a history, and like I remember reading about it, in different books that I've read. But it didn't really set in how like the reality of it because takeover was just a cocktail bar, Italian themed Negroni bar, cocktail bar, which you would expect in a bar called the Negroni bar. How many rums would you expect that they have? Maybe 5?
Oh, if that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Couple of
6.
wells, couple of calls, or a well and a couple of calls. I wouldn't expect much more than that.
Yeah, but they had maybe 20, 25, 30 rums, like, and and bigger brands, but there's no Bacardis. Like they represented like kind of each kind of major style. Like
Wow.
there was Jamaican, they had El Dorado for Guyana, they had Barbados rum, they had brands that we don't get here. They have Spanish rums and they have agricoles and stuff. Like they had a pretty deep selection. Then I noticed going around to other bars, other cocktail bars, and other just restaurant bars. Like everyone had almost as many rums as they had whiskeys,
That's fascinating.
like in general. Yeah, and it was cool. And then the German gins too. We should talk about that. Um, but back to rum, like there was yeah, it was really cool to find out. I remember that in Berlin there was really, really cool rum bars too. The name's escaping me now, but I know that German, the Vetterburn, the Plummer and Vetterburn kind of history, where they would, foreign spirits were heavily taxed. So they would get high ester Jamaican rum, and then blend it with their own rum. Sometimes it would be they would make rum, sometimes they would have like a kind of grain liqueur that they would blend it with. So they would use that to flavor big batches.
That's fascinating.
So and then I'm like, because I know if you read, there's books that talk about it, and you just kind of read it, and you're like, oh, that's a thing. Okay, it doesn't really set in, but actually seeing it and like having it be such a standard, like more than whiskey. It's just one of those little differences that you kind of notice country to country and like what people drink.
Well, that's
Um,
really interesting
but
because yeah, Germany has like a very long-standing tradition in distilling and spirit making and that. But to my knowledge, and this might just be my ignorance, but I don't know that Germany has ever had a prohibition. Um, and that singular moment really changed how what Americans consume and what's popular. Not a lot of people know this, but before Prohibition, rum was the primary spirit in America. And if you were going to have like a political rally, a political meeting, and you didn't have some kind of rum punch, no one was showing up. And it's even believed that the Boston Tea Party was fueled by a bit too much rum punch. And then they kind of, after a few drinks, like, you know what, fuck King George. Let's go throw
yeah,
some tea into the harbor. So really,
got
rum
their
has
rum
its
muscles
hand.
on.
Yeah, in the beginning of the American independence, and you had through the Carolinas and Georgia a lot of early colonies. Sugar production was such a big deal, and they would use like the dunder pits to distill rum because not only was it a consumable, it was a commodity you could trade with. It really was the primary spirit here. But when Prohibition hit,
And
the
Massachusetts has
yeah,
that huge history of rum. Part of the rum triangle, obviously, they didn't grow sugar,
yeah.
but it was part of
But
that
with all the
molasses, that slave
importation, yeah,
trade.
exactly. And yeah, it was a way that traders could take that byproduct, that molasses, and actually get decent money out of it, because people could distill out of it. But yeah, when Prohibition started, a lot of the sugar fields got torn up, and we crops became very focused on these either feed people or livestock. And so then when Prohibition repealed, people weren't going back in and putting down sugarcane, especially when they realized like, oh, we can make distillates off corn and grain, and that I personally believe from the reading I've done really began sort of the American obsession with whiskey. And without that, we could be very much like Germany, where maybe you do see more rums in bars than whiskeys and other things. Yeah, it's a real fascinating thought experiment, but I would never have guessed, when you think rum, you kind of think tropics and that. And as much as I joke that where I last worked in Des Moines, Iowa, is about as far away from the tropics as you can get, I might argue that Bavaria might even be that much farther.
Absolutely. Yeah, and gin, German gin. I know you're familiar with Monkey 47,
One of my
right?
favorites of all time. Love it. The Schwarzwald.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Delicious. Yeah, but there's a whole German craft gin like craze happening in Germany as well. Like every city has their own gin. Every bar you would go to, they were just really featuring some of these delicious gins, and I unfortunately I didn't get to try them all because I was in the middle of huge steins of beer, Augustiner, Paulaner, Hofbrau, like all the amazing beer. And then I was drinking loads of Amaro, and we were drinking a little bit of Jägermeister,
The Huntmaster. You
and
got to have Jägermeister.
yeah, to the Fruling Fest and what? Yeah, Ramazotti as well, Vecchio Mar del Capo. Like we were drinking a lot of stuff. So the gin, I didn't get to drink as much as I wanted to.
Yeah, it always
That's
fascinates me how much of Europe really seems to gravitate towards gin. And I think we've talked about this previously, like post World War One, with the English soldiers coming back after drinking like the early Dutch gins and saying
the
like,
30
yeah,
Years War. Yeah.
yeah, we miss this. And you really do see like in Holland and in England and obviously in Germany, like these infused botanical spirits have such a resonance with the people and culture. I find that really interesting, especially when gin still in America, I would say is, in my professional experience, still one of the most kind of divisive spirits out there. One that I've always really loved, but I would say if I pulled 10 people on the street right now, 9 of them would say, yeah, I don't like gin.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it might be changing a little bit. The number might be skewing a bit, but yeah, I would say the general consumer, not everyone can handle the juniper. The
You got it.
juniper is
Juniper's a hefty lady. She brings a
yeah.
lot to the table.
She is a super fruit. So if anything, drink to our health. That's why we do it,
Always.
right? You know?
So, what are some other standouts from the trip? Anything else really blow your skirt up?
Yeah, well, I saw some Munich river surfing, which was a cool thing. Um, they're
Did you
in their
join them?
main
Did you show them
park.
how it's done?
I was about to, but Heidi held me back.
Heidi, hold
Yeah,
my Amaro. I'm gonna show them how
she
to surf.
I'm like, he just said, Heidi, yeah, Heidi said, hold my Amaro so I can show them how to surf. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I shouldn't talk of sites, but um, yeah. What else? Ruling Fest. Already talked about that. I would say, the architecture. Some of the churches, some of the older churches
Oh
were
yeah.
amazing. That kind of gothic, really, really dark statues and just the Alps. There's moments when we went to Austria, and in the German Alps and the Swiss Alps, like there's moments when it's almost a feedback on your brain. Like it's so beautiful that you really just can't even take it all in. You like
Oh,
can't
I'm
believe what
sure.
you're seeing. There was a lot of those moments, and hijinks, yeah, family hijinks aside, that's what we can do a whole separate thing about. Oh, how the telephone game goes. Here, this will be one little tidbit. Before I got there, it was one of the cousins' fiancés. Uh, it was her birthday, and they were saying, "Oh, we have to go to the We're going to the opera house tonight. It's her birthday. We're going to the opera." Like, so then there was everyone's like, "Oh my God, I didn't know we're going to go to the opera. Like, we don't have anything to wear." So there's like 16 of them too. Most of them like sisters and cousins. And they're like, "Oh, we got to go." So they're all like going around the city that they don't know in it's not speaking German,
The native
looking
language, yeah.
for, yeah, looking for like fancy dresses. And it was like a whole thing. So they get ready, they get dolled up to go. They end up getting ready to go. And it ends up they're going to the Hofbrau house.
Hey, we've got one of those.
Not, yeah, we do actually. And so I just thought that was funny. That was one thing before I went, but
Some
I did go to the
fantastic
Hofbrau
pretzels
house.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I would say I almost enjoy the one in Vegas more.
Really? Because they speak
Believe it or
English.
not, they speak English. No, but I'll tell you, like it's almost less touristy here in Vegas for somehow it works out.
That's
because the
hilarious.
ceilings are lower. The ceilings are lower in the one in Munich, and yeah, the ceilings are lower, so you feel maybe it was just our state of being hungover, and you just feel like the instant shift from like I'm in Germany to I am in like Disneyland.
Oh
I am
yeah.
in, even though like it's historic AF. I don't think I can say fuck here, right?
I've
It's
said fuck like
historic.
7 times.
Yeah. Okay. But
That's fascinating. One of my favorite memories of going there, I think the first time that Brie and I went, um, our server was actually from Germany, natively, and she complimented me on my excellent pronunciation while ordering. So that was my
beautiful.
ugly American moment. I'm like, God, that's right. The German lady thinks I speak German just okay, so that's pretty cool. Not like these regular jackoffs over here from Poughkeepsie or whatever the fuck.
Poughkeepsie's such a good word. It's one of those.
That's my
Where is
Albuquerque.
Poughkeepsie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Bugs Bunny always had is like, should have taken the right at Albuquerque. Mine's
Right.
Poughkeepsie.
I like I miss my connection in Schenectady.
Schenectady.
Yeah.
Schenectady has come up in like
Sheboygan.
3 or 4 episodes so far.
Dude, it's
We're
there's
we're
gonna
gonna
be
have
those
to
times.
travel and do a remote.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Tiki Rebellion from Schenectady, in whatever the fuck state that's in.
From Sheboygan to Schenectady, Tiki Rebellion is taking over.
Where, oh, yeah, when you think Tiki, these are the areas you're thinking of.
Those
That's
Tiki Meccas.
fantastic. So
But so what?
you
Go
survived,
ahead.
you're back. What are we looking forward to, brother? What's on the docket? What are we excited about?
And I can't wait. Geeky Tiki Takeover.
Brandon with
And then
Beeline Collective. Uh, this episode definitely won't be out before it happens, but for you and I in the world we live in this Sunday, there is the licensing expo in Las Vegas, and people from all over the world come here to try and license off their intellectual properties to other different content creators. And yeah, Geeky Tiki is one of those amazing creators. And Brandon reached out, who's the owner of Beeline Creative, and said, hey, I really want to, we've done takeovers at tiki bars before. He was really trying to oversell me on it. And I was like, dude, no, I'm familiar with you. And it's actually something when Spike Marble was in over um, Viva Las Vegas, we kind of got an argument about. Because I know with some people, Geeky Tiki kind of, they're like, oh, that's not Tiki, or, they're just cashing in. Well, I mean, Shag's worked with them. And so be careful because they've got pedigree. And I have met more people working in the tiki industry that have told me, like, dude, I had no idea what tiki was, but I'm a big fan of the Golden Girls. Like a couple years ago for my birthday, my brother-in-law got me these Golden Girls tiki mugs. I didn't know what tiki was. Now this is like the 17th tiki bar I've been to. I'm building a tiki bar in my house. Like
it's the
I would
gateway.
posit
It's the gateway drug to Tiki
exactly.
in a lot
I
of
think
ways.
more people have been brought into tiki that were unaware of it through Geeky Tiki than almost any other source, in the last 7, 8 years. And so definitely, regardless of what you think of their product, they've done a lot. They are an avatar of what we do. I'm super excited to be working with them. And from everything I've heard, Big Toe was telling me this, like Brandon, I guess, is just the coolest guy. He has been so great, like the phone conversations we've had, the email exchanges. And yeah, Tom said he's like, I've met people that are dyed in the wool, like, I hate Geeky Tiki, I'm not into what they do. And they meet Brandon, and they're like, I mean, that guy's cool. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah, it'll be
great.
super fun. They're coming in. Adam's crafted I think it's like 4 or 5 drinks and a shot. They've sold us some of their mugs, donated some others. So a couple
And
of
the
the
shirts
drinks,
too, the Aloha shirts
yeah, they've
look
donated for the
amazing too.
staff some Aloha shirts, which are super amazing. And yeah, it sounds like a couple of the drinks, if you buy the drink, you get to take the mug with you. And then every drink on the menu during the event is going to get you a raffle ticket if you buy one of those. And every 15, 20 minutes, if you're going to be there, Adam, you and Brandon and I will be raffling off all sorts of Geeky Tiki swag. He's bringing a bunch of mugs. He's bringing shirts. Sounds to me like he cleared out the warehouse, and we're really going to have a party with it. So that's going to be a fun event. And again, I always enjoy when it's people that love tiki, when it's people that have come up with some cool ideas and created stuff on their own. Those are the ones I want to party with. Those are the ones I want to celebrate. So yeah, it's going to be a super fun event.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one. And like, even if there's haters that say, "Oh, these mugs aren't artist crafted," well, they are, or they're not small scale. I mean, yeah, they're maybe produced at a large scale, but they're just so cool. And
Yeah.
like you said, they bring people into the fold. They're the rising tide rises all boats. So I think I love what they do. I don't love every single one of their mugs, but some of them I want. So,
Oh,
you know,
100%.
you know,
Yeah, and it's neat. I
hell,
was
buy
talking to
anything.
Brandon. I asked him, I said, if you don't mind, I don't mean to stray into territory that maybe you don't want to address, but like, how do you decide what licenses you go for, what mugs you want to make? And he's like, dude, to be honest with you, it's mostly stuff I was into as a kid that I still think is cool. Like, that's the stuff that I try and get mugs made of. And it's like, how neat is that?
That's right.
Being
Yeah,
able to
it's a
create,
dream come true right
yeah, a
there.
cottage industry just celebrating the stuff that inspired you in your youth. I think it's, yeah, it could have easily been like, oh, yeah, we have a team of market researchers that are paying attention to like what's hot, what's on trend. Wasn't that at all. It's just like, this is the stuff I think is cool. I don't know. It seems to be working out. It's fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. And then after that, do we have anything else on the docket? Is there anything else in the immediacy we're excited about?
In June, there's New York Rum Fest.
And that's
There'll be New York Rum
okay. That's
in New York.
different from Tiki
Yeah,
by the Sea.
that's different from Tiki by the Sea. And then there will also be Brooklyn Bar Convent, which I'd love to go to if I can, but we'll see on that one. And but for us, I mean, we're always, we're always bringing that fun, that fantasy, that magic 24 hours a day. It's exhausting work, but we're doing it for you. We're going to continue doing it. We're pouring rum. We're lighting stuff on fire. We're having fun. We're pointing out the dicks in the room, art wise and customer wise and employee wise. It's great. So we're going to continue to do that, of course. But I know there's things I've forgotten because it's like every week we have something kind of fun, kind of awesome. So it's
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
funny
whirlwind.
when I talk to people like Big Toe and McBiff and Spike and that, um, they always want to know stories about different events that we've done and things like that. And it is a very unique position where that like, yeah, we do really cool things, but you don't really get much of a time to sit back and reflect on it because you're like, okay, we got through it. We didn't screw it up too bad. Like, no one's getting fired. Sick. That was fun. We've got this in a week and we haven't done anything
Yeah.
for it. We got to go. Um, so yeah, it is. It's interesting because yeah, we don't really get to ruminate and say like, wow, we always talk about Wee Man's birthday and him singing the Misfits with you guys and that being such a neat moment, but it was done and then it's like, okay, well yeah, but this next thing's coming up. Like that was neat. Hopefully someone got
Right.
some photos. What else do we
Right.
have
Right.
coming up? And yeah, there's that is fun. And it's one of the reasons that we wanted to start this was to kind of have a chance to tell those stories. From an example, and I keep bringing up Spike because he was in recently, but I was sitting down with him at his table when he was in over Viva, and we he's much more of a traditionalist than I am. But an example, he kind of started shooting at me about the bathroom attendants. And he's like, like, dude, really, like, what's the deal with the bathroom attendants? And I could tell that he was not into it. And I was like, well, okay, here's the thing. Like, we're busy
So
right
the
now.
bathroom's not gross.
I have bathroom attendants in there. No one's doing drugs in there. No one's banging in there. No one's putting graffiti or scratching up the mirror. And immediately you saw, he's like, I never would have thought that. Like, it's like, you have literally changed my opinion on bathroom attendants. From someone that goes to bars and creates content about bars, he'd always looked at bathroom attendants being this like pseudo bougie thing, and great, now
Trying
every
to
time
take
I
my
piss,
money.
I've got to
Yeah.
tip at least $1 or whatever. It's like one has nothing to do with the other. This is a set of eyes in a room I don't have eyes in for the entire peak of service. It's like, wow, that completely makes sense. So yeah, that again, that it reminds me so much of like what our kind of impetus for starting Tiki Rebellion was, is, you can be a fan, you can go to all these cool different bars and try these drinks. But if you haven't been in there, if you haven't helped make the sausage, you don't always know why decisions get made. And damn it, do we make a hell of a lot of sausage.
It's a sausage fest.
So
Tiki Sausage Fest
Tiki Sausage
2024.
Fest, if you were to say the number one highlight of your trip, what would you say it was?
I would say, man, there's so many good moments, but at the Frühling Fest, just in a being in a Ferris wheel above Munich and looking down at the festival below.
4 years behind.
Yeah, that. Right. And Heidi's chiming in, telling me her favorite parts, and they happen to be mine as well. But yeah, that whole experience was amazing. And then at getting down to the bottom and going inside those tents, where you immediately just feel that sense of like, people have been doing this for, I don't know how long the Oktoberfest and Frühling Fest has been happening, but feels like you're connected to like a long, vast history of people celebrating and coming together for celebrating the harvest or celebrating the spring. And whether it be to new or old songs, like it felt like Heidi was just saying, like it felt like they're a little behind on some of the popular music, but they're singing with all the gusto, like you're singing. And I would walk 1,000 miles, and I would walk 1,000 more just to be like they're singing older songs, but with just all that heart and soul. And in that moment, you wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world, surrounded by all Germans, and just feeling it was like one of those kind of cultural moments that you can't really put a price tag on, and especially since we didn't even know it was happening.
That's awesome. Just stumbling into epicness.
Yes,
that
exactly.
Could very easily, that should be your autobiography title: Stumbling into Epicness, the Adam Rain story.
That's amazing.
And then it's just all about when Mike Tyson was doing crack in the bathroom of the strip club that you worked at.
Yes.
Well, Adam, is there anything else you want to hit up this time, or you think we're good?
I think we're good, brother.
Top notch. I'm glad you're back.
I think we have enough info.
I think you had some fun. I'm glad to hear about it. I am, as always, horrendously jealous. I look forward to kicking you in the knee next time I see you in person, which I believe will be tomorrow. But hey, thanks for sharing your stories with us. Munich sounds lovely. Maybe I'll go to Munich someday. I've barely left Vegas since I moved here. I think I've gone to LA a couple of times and Arizona a couple of times. It's weird. Back when I lived in Iowa, we would literally, there were months where every week we'd drive somewhere to go to a show, like Kansas City, Omaha, Minneapolis, Chicago. But Las Vegas brings a lot to the table. So thank you for spending your time with us. Adam, you sure have done a lot of stuff, and I loved hearing about the stuff that you've done. Thank you for tuning into the Tiki Rebellion. We will be back
Thank you, guys.
With in a much shorter window this time. Adam's no longer in a whole other continent. So we'll get a little more regular with posting these, but we appreciate your time. Thank you for tuning in. I don't even know if that's a thing. You don't really tune in. Thank you for clicking a button with your finger. You are a master of it. That's a whole lot. Cheers and mahalo. I'm gonna have to do some
Whatever.
heavy editing on this episode.
Yeah. Anyway, Adolf Hitler